Hi guys! Midweek already, 15th of October. Can you believe it? Oh my God, the time is flying by. Before you know it, it's going to be Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, every year I put out an RAK, which is Random Act of Kindness project. Put a project sheet up on the Random Act of Kindness AYL Facebook page that you can download for free to help you create some fun little giveaways to give to people for those random act of kindness, especially for the holidays. And I think this year that little bit of kindness is going to go a long way. It's been a tough year for a lot of people, so I think a little bit of kindness would be a good thing. But before we get into it, I do have a winner for our giveaway last week, that 5-brush set of IPC brushes, which is going to the lovely Carrie Henderson. Carrie, thank you for watching. If you would leave me a message on Facebook Messenger or send me an email with your shipping information, we will get your brush set out to you. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube videos, both for the midweek and for the Facebook Live video that we post on Saturdays. If you are subscribed to my channel, you'll get a notification about what's coming up next. All right, guys, I think it is time to jump right in. So I had a great idea. I thought that we would work with something a little bit different. Usually it's a pin, but this year I thought, wouldn't this be fun? These are little dollar store jars, little glass jars, and they came with a little wooden lid. You could do this on mason jars as well. The top of this is about 2.5 inches, so it's actually a very simple size to get. They could easily be made, and it's also about the same size as the liner on a mason jar when it's inside the ring, so you could actually paint directly onto the lids of mason jars to do this. I thought these were really cute. You could fill these up with jelly beans or with favorite candies, or if you wanted to give them to a favorite office worker, you fill it up with paper clips or other little office supplies. That would be fun too. I used a little bit of ribbon just to add a little bit of extra color, make them look a little bit more festive. And I also did a little gingerbread cookie, which I thought was really cute, but again, I just matched the ribbon to the subject matter on the lid. And I also did a little candy. I thought this would be fun too, but you could paint them any way you like, make this look like peppermint or what have you. So the project is very, very simple. I base coated the lids, in this case for the snowman. I base coated him with warm white. The eyes and the coal for his mouth are done with black, and the nose is warm sunset, but you could choose any color of orange that you like. Now, the finishing of these is very simple. There's not a ton of steps to it. So we're going to start with the shading on the outside of this face, and that is done with a little bit of Bahama Blue, my favorite color. And it's quite simple. It's a very loose float all around the outside edge. I'm not being too finicky with it. I just want to create a shadow on the outside edge of my snowman. And I'm going to do the same thing along the edge as well. And neatness doesn't really count for this. We're just getting a little shadow on there. Simple, easy peasy. These work up very quickly. As far as preparation goes, all you really have to do is just lightly sand the surface. In this case, if it's the little wood surfaces on the jar, just give it a light sanding. If it's a mason jar lid, I would just simply give it a scuff sand and then you're ready to go. So then I put 2 coats of the warm white on this. Now I'm going to shade above that nose and behind the eyes with a little of that blue as well. That lifts his eyeballs up off the surface. Now he needs some nice rosy cheeks, so I'm going to take I'm using a point blender. This is a medium, and I'm picking up just a little bit of Santa Red. I'm going to blush this out on the surface so that it's almost dry. And I'm just going to lightly rouge in a little bit of color for the cheeks. Just like that. Don't really have to putz with it too much. Just get a little color on his cheeks. And then for the nose, we've got this great little carrot. We're going to shade the underside of his nose with a little bit of asphaltum. And it's a simple float. I need a little more color than that though. Just a simple float along the bottom of the carrot. And then to highlight it, I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of warm white. These guys really come together quite quickly, so you don't have to work too hard to do this. So we get a little bit of a highlight. Gives his nose a sort of frosted look. I'm going to come back to that Bahama blue because I realized that I forgot to put a shadow underneath the coal in his mouth. So just a little float. So now I'm going to put a little highlight on those eyes. I'm using warm white again. And it's a weak float. I don't want this white too strong. And the float's going to go with the brightest side to the left-hand side of the eye, following the curve, just like so. I like to leave, if you look, there's just a little gap between the edge of the highlight and the edge of the eye. I like that little gap. It just gives the eye a little more dimension. And then I'm going to give it a final highlight in a couple of places. I want to put a dot of white on each cheek. I'm going to do the same thing on each of these lumps of coal in his mouth. And then on the upper left side of each eye, I'm going to put a dot. There's the highlight for our little snowman. So this is where I switch to my smaller angle. We're going to put a couple of leaves in. This is just simple holly leaf. Now the load is simple. I put a little paint all the way across the chisel edge. So I'm just touching up a little bit of color and I'm going to blend it out on the brush so it's well loaded. But it's just the green. And the strokes are simple. It's an abbreviated C stroke, or an S stroke, sorry. So I'm going to create a little diamond there and a little diamond there. I'm going to go the other way here. I'm putting a little bit of space between them. If you've noticed, there's an opening in the center so that those leaves aren't actually touching. And I'm going to pick up my rigger and using the handle of it, I'm going to put 3 dots of red, like so. And there's our berries. So the highlight on those berries is done with a little bit of warm white, but I'm going to actually take the dryer to this for a second. Now I'm going to put a highlight on each one of these little berries. I didn't want to do it while the paint was too wet. Okay, so now we just have a few final little details to deal with, and that is we're going to age this little guy a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of asphaltum and a fair amount of water in my brush, and I'm going to float right over that Bahama blue with the asphaltum, just like so. And that little bit of asphaltum just ages him a bit. And I'll do the same thing behind his eyes. Oop. Like so. I'll give it another quick dry. just a little finishing to do. Now I noticed the edge here under his eye was looking a little peaky, not so clean as it should be. So I'm going to just put a little warm white to clean up that line, like so. And now comes the fun part. I'm going to load up my large point blender with warm white. And the same thing I did for the cheeks, I'm going to do with the warm white. Only I'm going to do this. I'm just going to lightly dry brush over the whole surface. And that dry brush just softens everything, gives it a kind of frosted look. Just like so. There we go. Now you can embellish this a little further. I have a tendency to take my gel pen and add little details to my leaves like so. You can add little vines and tendrils if you like. You can do that with paint as well. Don't forget, sign your piece. And you are all set to give away your great little gifts. This little snowman works up really, really quickly. So does the little gingerbread. He works up very fast. He's even simpler than the snowman. And you have to have a little bit of glitter, so I'm going to recommend either the Galaxy glitter, this one is the Clear Ice Comet, or you can use the decoupage and a little bit of glamour dust to add a little sparkle to these as well. So that's it, guys. That's how simple this little fellow is. So that's your rack for this year. These ones bang out really, really fast. These little surfaces and jars are available everywhere. You can find them at Walmart, you can find them at dollar stores in various sizes. The line drawings in the free download can be enlarged very easily to fit almost any surface. So make one, make 100, give them away, make somebody's day. Little act of kindness can go a very, very long way, especially right now when times are tough. Okay, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join me Saturday on Facebook Live on Tracy Moreau Live. We are doing Be Fierce, a great mixed media project. Mwah! Love ya. Stay safe.